Hi there. So this is the blog for Tuesday, the 20th, cake sale day. As said in my previous blog, I wasn't able to vlog on the exact day of cake sale, but I wrote down some notes so that I remember what happened on cake sale day, so I can say what happened now. So basically, how the day went is that we woke up at 4:45, so after sleeping on campus and going to bed at about 2:30, that means we got about 2 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, which is not ideal considering that the whole day would be on our feet, busy and having to look pretty awake for customers. It was the four guys who slept on campus, and Jamie and DK decided to go home and sleep at home, which is a good idea for Jamie, otherwise she'll get pretty cranky on cake sale day. So basically what the main thing that I learned from cake sale was that you can think that you plan correctly for absolutely everything, but unless you do a trial run of every task you will do on the day, like absolutely everything, stuff will go wrong. And stuff did go wrong, but luckily it wasn't too much of a shambles, but I'm just going to say exactly what did go wrong. So firstly, the electricity, we didn't actually have it at the start. We didn't have those electricity boxes that we were supposed to be given by the SRC, so we had to connect via long extension cords to the electricity boxes on the side by zone 10. But because of that, we had all our appliances, so 3 fridges, the TV, we had a microwave oven type thing for the hollandaise sauce. That was all running on one plug, and so it kept on tripping. Also the coffee machine, so it all kept on tripping, and we actually missed the morning rush before the 8 a.m. or for the coffee because the electricity was tripping so much that we couldn't actually make a decent number of coffees for the students. So that was bad. Then the next mistake is that was on me. I forgot the butter, 3 kilograms of butter to prepare the hollandaise sauce. I forgot it at home, so I was able to, or my mom was able to, drop off the butter quickly. But the problem was they were only able to prep the hollandaise sauce. We had a few friends come do the eggs benedict on the day for us, so they were only able to prep it slightly later, and then we also didn't make the morning rush with the eggs benedict, which also negatively impacted us. Then also our scorto braai that I was trying to use for the pancakes, it was my scorto braai, and we hadn't actually used it yet. It was about a year old, but we hadn't touched it yet. We hadn't gone camping, so a plate was screwed in over the air vents on the actual gas part of the scuttle, which I didn't realize. And so every time I put the lid on, put the pan on the scuttle braai, the fire went out, which is extremely frustrating. So the only way to get the fire to stay lit was to angle or to wedge something underneath the plate to allow the airflow in. But then I was making pancakes, and of course with the angled pan, all the pancake mix went to the one side, which didn't make very nice pancakes. So then I tried with the gas braai, but the gas braai wasn't hot enough, and eventually I brought an extra scuttle and worked out how to open the gas on that, because the lever that you need in order to open the gas was clipped in under the handle, which I didn't realize because I hadn't used it yet. It was a friend's scorto braai. So eventually got that working, and then it was all good. I started making pancakes. So that was once we got the electricity, the butter, and the scorto braai working, it was A4 Basically, some learnings from the day was that you always overcompensate in terms of planning for things. This can be seen in the scorto braai scenario, where if I hadn't brought 4 scottles, if I had only brought 3, then I wouldn't have been able to make pancakes, because the one Squirrel Bry wasn't working, and the other two were used for the hollandaise sauce and basically the eggs Benedict and bacon. Then another thing that I learned was to deliver quality representative of price. So with the pancakes, at the start of the morning, I was making pancakes about this big, the size of my head, which were decent sized pancakes, but we were only selling them for R5. And of course, we used quite a bit of mixture at the start of the day, making pancakes that size. So by the end of the day, I was making pancakes about this size, and they were still selling for R5. So if I'd made pancakes that size from the start of the day, we would have sold about 1.5 times the amount that we did. So that was definitely a big thing. You must produce the products that represent the price that you're selling them at. Then another thing is we didn't put up signs on the gazebos to tell the customers, because customers, when they see food, they would just go to the stall, but they wouldn't know where to go or where to line up or anything. And we didn't have signs to say like queue here and collect here type thing. So next time for Cake Sale 2, we must definitely have a queue here sign and a collect, whether to burger or burry, over here. And especially also signs. We had menus, but if we had signs saying, you know, big burger and a picture of a burger and a big eggs Benedict and a picture of an eggs Benedict, that would attract the customer a lot better, which is what we needed. We had a lot of people walking past and just glancing at the menu and then you know, walking off. And I feel that if we had attractive pictures of the actual products, we would have got a lot more customers. Then on the day during lunch, it was quite chaotic because we had, in terms of the setup of the store, we had the coffee over here with the snacks right next to the coffee, which is good, but then we had the till over here and the preparation of the burgers over here, and then we had on the side over here, we had the boerewors rolls, or the burries and burgers being made next to each other. And so what would happen is customers would come in and place an order with the till, pay, and they would then go, well, for the burries they had to go all the way around and wait by the burry bry to collect their boerewors rolls. And we had no idea, or the person preparing the burries had no idea if the customers had actually paid or not. So we have no record if people were paying or not. Obviously we glanced quite often to see if it was all good, but someone could have easily slipped in. So that was quite bad. We definitely should have had a number system, and we actually did come up with a number system later. We just had a piece of paper and we'd tear off a number and give it to the customer to give to the burry roll, or give in exchange to the burry roll. But and then also for the burgers, as soon as the customer ordered a burger, we would put cheese on the burger and melt the burger, or we would start drying the burger, and then when that was done, we'll give it to the stall over here to put all the toppings on and everything, and then give it to the customer. Whereas it should have been till, bry, collection, toppings, so that it's an easy sequence for the customers to follow, because the customers would go to the burgers and then back, and they wouldn't know what to do, and especially because there wasn't a collect sign, it was a bit chaotic. But we got there, and we found that we can be very resourceful. I found, especially in the lead up to the cake sale, I was able to get a bar fridge from one mate. Andrew was able to provide a bar fridge. That was good. We had a few cooler boxes from myself and mates. Then we also had the 4 Squirrel Bries that I mentioned previously, one being mine, but then I was able to source some others. And if we didn't have those, we'd be pretty screwed. So that was really nice. And also Aiden had mates to do the eggs Benedict, and Andrew had mates to do the coffee, the barista job, and also the boerewors and the burgers. So we had a lot of help, and without them, there's no way we would have done as decently as we did. So I'm quite proud of my group for that. One lesson we also learned was with the fat sacks and the TV. We were supposed to charge each person to play a game of FIFA 10 Rand, and while we were so incredibly busy over the lunch period, the fat sacks were sort of behind us, and so we lost track of who was playing and if they had paid or not. And also the actual customers who were playing FIFA didn't know that they were supposed to pay to play. So we should have put up a sign above the TV saying, 10 Rand a game type thing, or else have a little box or Tupperware type thing where people could give donations for playing FIFA. So that could operate without us having to oversee the process, which in our scenario did require us to oversee it, and because we were so busy over lunch we couldn't oversee it, and that's when that's how we weren't able to acquire or receive the money from the players. And then also that whole setup with the fat sacks and the TV was sort of behind us, and behind the coffee truck we had a tuk-tuk, which was quite cool for coffee truck, but it was difficult for customers to see what was going on over there, and difficult for customers to see the fat sacks. They were being used and there was a lot of demand, but there would have been a lot more if we had the fat sacks and the TV next to us, right next to where the mainstream of students were walking. So next time, if we have the same sort of setup, we'll definitely have it right next to the main walkway. And also we didn't plan at all for our actual belongings. People had jerseys and bags and other random belongings that on the day we actually just chucked on the floor next to the fat sacks, which wasn't great for security and space purposes, because they could have got stolen by the people on the fat sacks, because as I said previously, we weren't really paying much attention, and also it just made a mess for everyone working, because it was somewhere between the fridges and the workstations, and so it just didn't work. So next time we can have like a designated box or designated big Tupperware, to actually house everyone's belongings. Then another big one was we ran out of milk for the coffee. We brought 20 liters of milk, which we sort of knew would only make 100 cups of coffee, so equivalent of a kilogram of coffee beans. But the milk ran out sort of just at the start of lunchtime, and so we were also so concentrated on the food for lunch that we didn't realize that the milk had run out, and even if we did know, we didn't care to do much about it because of the concentration on food and getting the food to the customers. So what we could have done in retrospect was phone someone to deliver some milk. So it could have been my mom, could have been someone else, anyone we knew, literally anyone could have delivered us another 20 liters of milk, and we would have had another 100 cups of coffee and therefore 100 cups of revenue, each selling at about 20-25 Rand. Then another thing is the donuts from Quality Bake. We forgot to unpackage them from the packets, and they weren't the standard round donuts. They were sort of longitudinal in shape like this, and they had to get a whole lot of, they were in the packets, and we had to pour sauce in the packets and shake it around. But then we didn't actually unpack it, and it didn't look great. So next time we'll definitely unpackage them. Next. Then we need a better payment inventory tracking system. We had the Yoco, which was great, and anything paid in the Yoco was logged as bought on the Yoco app. But anything that was paid by cash, we didn't, because we were unsure whether to do it. Whoever was making the burger would tick off that the burger was being made, or the cashier ticked off that the burger had been bought. We didn't know which one, and eventually we didn't actually decide. And so DK on the till didn't know whether she had to tick off or not, and she didn't. So, and then whoever was producing the food, so the pancakes, the burrito rolls, etc., they weren't ticking off or logging the inventory either. So we basically will have to guess how much we made, or how much we sold rather. So we definitely need a better system for that. And I've also found from previous pop-ups with Brasa that electronic, unless you have an automated system with the scanning of a barcode, an electronic system doesn't really work in terms of inventory. It's a lot easier just to tick off and to put lines down for the number of items being sold for a particular item. So we definitely need to work on that. So it needs to be manual. And then also for notes, we just had a big Tupperware for float. We just had a massive Tupperware and we just chucked all the coins and notes in there. So next time we definitely need to have a separated, a Tupperware with separated sections for the different notes. And then also we need a charging point for the Yoco, because the Yoco ran out of battery halfway. Luckily I had my power bank, so I was able to charge the Yoco with the power bank, but that was just by luck or foresight on my part. And if we needed some other charging point or other plug point for, say, the laptop or iPad, it would have been terrible. So definitely need that. Then also coming back to the thing about the Q sign and the collect sign. DK was our till, was our cashier, and she wasn't very vocal, so customers would see a Q by the collect sign and just queue there, and she wouldn't tell them that they must queue by her to pay. And so when I looked up, I was at the collect. When I looked up, I saw a whole queue. I had to shout to people to get onto the till side to queue for actually ordering the food first. Then another thing, it would have been a lot more helpful to have an external photographer. Jamie was an excellent photographer during the day, and sort of commenting on everything that we were doing for Instagram, for the story. But it would have been a lot better if we had gotten an external photographer to take photos of all of us in action during the day, because once lunch hit, Jamie was obviously very busy with other stuff, and so we didn't really get any photos of us being in the moment, busy with all the food and the money and the customers and the long queues and the chaos. So we didn't really capture that feeling of what we experienced on the day, which we sort of should have. So we definitely need an external photographer, just like a friend who can work for us during the day next time. Another thing is, as I mentioned earlier, also to make food visible. So not only have the pictures of the burgers and the pancakes and the brie rolls, but also have the physical items on show. So one thing with the burgers is that they were only being made once the customers ordered them, so they're coming out straight from the braai to the collection point, and they're giving them to the customers. And also the braai had a lid, so once the lid was closed, customers couldn't actually see the burgers, they could just see the smoke, which is a nice sign, but you would like to see the patties themselves. So what really worked at the end of the day, when we were dishing out a lot of burgers for only 25 Rand, we dropped the price from 50 to 25, just to get rid of everything. All the burgers were spread out on a table, and we could see customers seeing those burgers and going straight for the queue. So there's a direct, correlation between seeing the burgers and actually buying the burgers. So we definitely need that next time. Also for the Eggs Benedict, they looked incredible, and we didn't really display the Eggs Benedict as well as we could. So yeah, that's all for Cake Sale. In all, we did really well. We pulled together as a team that I thought was quite impressive. We sold everything except for some Eggs Benedict, because we missed the morning rush. I think we were left with about 20 eggs out of 120, and also a few croissants, which is a bit disappointing, because we could have actually sold the croissants later on as individual croissants, because they were really good. And then also with the coffee, we didn't quite sell out of the beans because of the milk. But other than that, we sold out all the bread rolls quick, sold the pancakes quick. We sold all our treats, so Rice Krispie treats, crunchies, brownies, popcorn, Drillville sticks. Yeah, we were left over with a few rusks, but that's understandable because the rusks aren't exactly the main attraction for students, I have to admit. At least during lunch it isn't. But all in all, and then also the packing up was really well done. We were able to do one trip from campus home, which was very nice. We didn't have to do shifts, thankfully. So we packed up really nicely. Got the fat sack guys in to take the fat sacks. We got the braai away easily. Yeah, it all worked really smoothly, really well, and I definitely had a very good night's sleep that night. Yeah.